Hello guys, I'll show you what's going on with the Road King. Got all sorts of gear going on here. There's the junk table. That is actually the hoist, but as you can see, I've had to take the Memphis shades fairing off, so that's off. I've taken the seat off. Now what I'm trying to do is install the Kuryakyn Road Thunder sound system. To get to that point, it's fairly simple. All it is a few brackets. These are all multi-directional, so I've put them on there, and sort of around about here is where the fun begins, because here's the wiring harness there. I was going to put it under the center console, but I think it's going to be too fat, so what I'm going to do is loosen off the front bolts at the front of the tank and try and lift the back tank up about 4 to 6 inches and then feed this through. Then I've got to connect it to one of these wires, so I'll show you how I'm going to do that, and hopefully won't blow anything up. But the first thing I've got to do is take this left saddlebag off, pull off the cover, and then pull out the fuse, and there's a way of doing that. So let me get the side cover and the saddlebag off and I'll get back to you. Stand by. Okay, so what's happened here, I've taken the left saddlebag off, I've taken the side cover off. That's just a case of pulling out from these 3 grommets. Next I've got to do is pull this fuse out, this one here, the red one. Don't know if you can see that. So first thing you need to do is get the trusty fob. I normally just hang it from the mirror, that's why I've got this clip here. I'll just hang it from the mirror. So here we go, just hopefully it's got enough power, and I put a new battery in it just recently. Then you make sure that your bike's on run. You turn, actually before I do that, I need to disconnect the fuel injector line. I'm not going to bother priming it because the bike hasn't started for a couple of months. So down here there's the fuel injector line. So I'll do that before I put the power on, otherwise it's going to pressurize the tank. So that's just a quick release, push it up and take it off. So I'll do that now. So I'll get back to you in a sec. Okay, so where are we up to? So what I've done, just to rehash, I disconnected the fuel line down there. Now that's got a little ball bearing in it, so when you disconnect that you can still turn the power on. So the sequence to get that fuse out from down here was fob. I've got the fob hanging off the mirror, ignition switch up on the handlebar to run, ignition on, pull the fuse, ignition off. So now there's no power to the bike. And when I did that, no fuel came out of here because I checked that, and there's a little ball bearing. As I pressed the ball bearing, the fuel came out. So that's all good. So I've got to lift the tank. So I've taken the 2 rear bolts, 1/2 inch. I've loosened the 2 front bolts over here, 1/2 inch, so I'll leave them in, and I'm just going to lift the back of the tank up. But to do that I've got to take the center console off, and there's 2 connections under there. There's a fuel hose I've got to take off and a couple of connectors. So I'll stop it there and I'll show you once I've got them out. Okay, so I've pulled the center console off. So what I did, I took this harness here was attached to the top of the tank there, pulled that off, This harness here, didn't really need to take that off in the end. That goes into the speedo. This one connected down the bottom here, probably really didn't need to take that off. I've disconnected the fuel overflow line there. These two wires, one runs to the ram mount, one runs to the tom-tom, so they're not an issue. So what I'm going to try and do now is lift the tank up about 4 or 6 inches. So I'll just sit the console there and see what's underneath and see if I can get this big kahuna wire under the tank so I can have some sound. Okay, I'll tool around with that and I'll get back to you. Okay, so what I've done, instead of taking the tank off, I lifted this up 2 inches. I can only go 2 inches because that lug there that holds the centre console hits the cowl at the front. So I went up 2 inches, tucked this wire here under the tank and pushed it up sort of from underneath, and this is the other lug here. I've just put that through over the nut here that holds the front tank on, or the front of the tank, and that way I'll be able to disconnect this and take this sound system off if I want to. So then I'll just connect this, push the wires up under the cowl, should be plenty of room for turning, and hopefully that'll work. So I'll connect that up and then we'll see if I can jag the running light wire so it comes on with the accessories. Stand by. Okay, so I've put the center console on. I've got the wires, put the rubbers on here. This is the speaker wire here. All I've got to do is nip it up at the back and nip it up at the front here, and I should be right. Just watching a bit of Red Rider as I do this. Going to some rally or something. Just for a bit of background noise, if you know what I mean. Can't have music, so I'll just put a bit of YouTube on. Alright, I'll nip this up and get back to you. Okay, so I've nipped up that. I've nipped up the front of the console down here. Watching a bit of Red Rider. Now what I've got to do, I'll probably get my torch, is work out which wire to tap into for accessory. Now I think it's this plain blue one here, that blue one on top there next to the red and yellow, and I'll show you why I think that is. We'll go over to the workshop manual and have a look. The reason I think it's that blue wire is because if I look at the wiring diagram here, it says, I don't know if you can see that, it says FLHX FLT HDI, which is Harley Davidson International, which is me. And this blue wire here, the blue wire there, which runs along here to number 6, comes from, if I go back through the rest of the wiring diagram, comes back from a positive connection. So anything that confuses me is from back here there is no number 6, but there's all these different colours here. but I'm worried. I'm just going to concentrate on this one. I do know that that blue light from the previous diagram says that it's the running light. There's another one down here that says if you go from the running light to this harness here is blue and white. So I'm going to take a punt and I'm going to hook into this blue one that I showed you over there, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board. Okay, so there is the blue wire, this one here. That's the one I'm going to connect to. I'm going to use this connector. You just close it together like that. Then once it's closed, you push the orange wire into that. So let's see if I read these wires properly. Hopefully, well, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Nothing much while the fuse is out, I guess. Alright, I'm going to connect it up, we'll see how we go. Well, winner winner, chicken dinner. Check this out. So I've piggybacked that on there. The blue wire was the one, so I'll tidied that up a bit there. Now when I've put the fuse in, and when I turn the ignition on, she comes on. Woohoo! Okay, I'm excited. Now let's try and get some music. I'll turn that off.
The Chief Technology Officer for Galileo.
Oh, that works all right. Okay, guys, there is the Road King. So she's all good. Just finished her off. She's all buttoned up. Well, almost. So, as I was saying before, if you've got a Road King and you want to tap into an accessory wire, the blue one there is the one to go. That goes to the tail light. So I've tidied her all up. The Kuryakyn Road Thunder is good. On accessories, she comes on, and it also comes on with the ignition. I won't play any sound because, as you know, copyright and all that. And when I put the fuse back in, it's just the reverse. Make sure your fob's there. There's my fob hanging on the mirror. Once I had it all done up, battery all secured, I put the fuse in down there. The security light came on there. I turned the ignition on, turned the ignition off. All good, all set. So tomorrow morning, I'll be putting on the fairing, the Memphis Shades fairing, the seat. It'll only take 5 minutes. And hopefully we won't get too much rain, and I'll take her for a spin. I'll put the saddlebag back on and the side covers over there. So yeah, that's it, guys. Got any questions, put them in the comments below. But I've had that sitting there for quite a while. I just haven't had the urge to get out and wire it up, but now that we're getting into riding weather, it's done. So, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I shall see you soon. Cheerio for now.